Open up your workbooks to page 317. Today we are going over lesson 22, which is the introduction to percents. So the word percent has the prefix per in it, which means for every, and then it has the ending cents, which means 100. So per cents is for every 100. It basically means an amount out of 100. So for the first one, the instructions say to shade the battery to show the charge that matches each description. Fill in the blank with the percent that you think best matches the battery charge. So if the battery is fully charged, then the whole thing is going to be filled in. So if the whole thing is filled in, it's going to just be 100%, because 100% is going to be your total. All right. So then for the next one, it says the battery hasn't been charged since yesterday and has a charge of about, well, we're just going to estimate here. We're going to say that it's probably going to be about 10%. You'll probably have 10%. Lord have mercy, I wish that would stop happening. You'll probably have 10% left, 10% of a charge left. All right, so that would be, for example, if you took this battery and you split it into 10 sections, if you split it into 10 sections, that would be each section about this size. So that would be 1 out of the 10 sections, right? Because each section would be that size, which is the same thing as 10 out of 100. Because 10 times 10 is 100, and then 1 times 10 is 10, and 10 out of 100 will give you 10%. The next one says the battery is 1/4 of a full charge remaining and has a charge of, that's actually going to be 25%. And it would look like 1/4 of the way full. So that would be about, if I split this into fourths, this right here would probably be the size of each section, because you would have 4 sections that size. So 4 sections that size would put each one about this size. So I know that's 25% because 1/4 is equal to 25 over 100, because 4 times 25 is 100, and then 1 times 25, of course, is 25. And 25 out of 100 is 25%, because percent is out of 100. The next one says that the battery has half of a full charge remaining. So split that in half, and each size is going to be about this size, and you're going to have two of them because it's a half. So that's what it would look like shaded in, about like that. And a half is the same as 50%. And I know this because one half is equal to 50 out of 100, because 2 times 50 is 100. So then I would have to do 1 times 50 to get 50 out of 100. All right, so percent is an amount out of 100. So for number 5, when it says shade the grid in to represent 17%, all right, well, I need to shade in 17 of these, because if you look at this grid, it is a 10 by 10 grid. So that means that all of these counted, all these squares would be 100. So if I'm doing 17%, I'm doing 17 out of 100. So that's all of this plus 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. Now if I'm doing, the next one says shade the grid to represent 50%, so that means I'm going to be doing 5 across, and then all the way down. Because I need to do 50 of them. So that's 5 in each row, and there's 10 rows. So that's 50. Oops. Getting out of the lines there. So that's what 50% looks like, because it's 50 out of 100. All right, so for the next one, it says use the grids in problems 5 through 6 to complete the table. Okay, well, the number of squares that I shaded in for 17% were 17. The total number of squares is 100. The ratio of shaded squares to the total number of squares is 17 to 100, or 17 out of 100. Then for 50%, I shaded in 50 squares out of a total of 100 squares, and my ratio of shaded to total number of squares is 50 to 100. Now for number 6, I'm sorry, it's number 8. I need to figure out the percent for each one of these. Well, 4% is out of 100, so 45 out of 100 is 45%. This is the percent sign. 25 out of 100 is 25%. 85 out of 100 is 85%. 5 out of 100 is 5%. All right, now let's fill out this table. So for this table, it gave us the decimal, and you just read that decimal like you know how to read decimals. That 4 is in the hundredths place, so this is 4 hundredths. 4 hundredths is 4 out of 100. So if I'm going to shade this grid in, I'm going to shade in 4 of them. The next one is the decimal 4 tenths. 4 tenths is the same thing as 40 hundredths, because 4 out of 10 is the same thing as 40 out of 100. All right, so I'm going to shade that in, and I'm going to get 40 of them. So this right here is 10 of them, 20 of them, 30, and then 40. All right, the next one is 25 hundredths, so that's 25 out of 100, and when you shade that in, you just shade in 25 of them. So that's 10, 20, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I got one extra. You get rid of that one extra. Oops. Well, that didn't work out like I planned, but here we go again. 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. All right, so then the next one, and I'm over here forgetting to write the percent, so I'm gonna go back and write the percents in a minute. All right, this decimal is 8 tenths, so written as a fraction, that's 8 out of 10, which is equal to 80 out of 100. And of course, when we shade that in, that's going to be 80 shaded in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This whole section here. All of this. And that'll give you 80 out of 100, which is 80%. All right, so here we have, let's go back over it. 4 hundredths, written as a fraction, is 4 over 100. Written as a percent, that's 40%. I mean, 4%. Then the next one is 4 tenths, written as a fraction, is 4 over 10, which is the same thing as 40 out of 100. So this is 40%. Then the next one is 25 hundredths, which written as a fraction is 25 over 100. Written as percent is 25%. And then this last one is 8 tenths. Written as a fraction is 8 out of 10, which is equivalent to 80 out of 100. So written as a percent is 80%. All right, now let's complete this table. 1/10 is the same thing. We're going to give an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100 so we can easily figure out the percent. So 1/10 is the same thing as 10 out of 100, which is 10 hundredths, which is 10%. 1/4 is the same thing as, okay, so let me just say, I multiplied by 10 over 10 to get the equivalent fraction for this first one. For this one, I'm going to get an equivalent fraction by multiplying by 25 over 25, because 4 times 25 will give me 25 over 100. So I was just looking for a way to get 4 to 100, multiply 4 by 25, and that'll get you 4 to 100. And then 25 out of 100 is 25 hundredths, which is 25%. All right. So for 3/5, all I have to do is multiply the 5 times 20 to get that to 100. When I multiply the 5 times 20, I also have to multiply the 3 times 20, and 3 times 20 is 60. That gives me 60 over 100. So 60 over 100 is 60 hundredths, which is equivalent to 60%. Now, 7/20ths, if I multiply the 20 times 5, that's going to give me 100. So I also have to multiply the 7 times 5 to make the equivalent fraction. So 7 times 5 is 35. And 20 times 5 is 100. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's a 35. So the equivalent decimal is 35 hundredths, which is 35%. Let me see if I can make this a little clearer so you can see it. This is 35. That doesn't look any clearer. So that is 35 out of 100. Well, that doesn't look any clearer, but I think you understand. 35 out of 100. All right. The next one is 16 out of 25. Well, to get the 25, the denominator to be 100, I just have to multiply the 25 times 4. But then I also have to multiply the 16 times 4. And 16 times 4 is 64. So that's 64 out of 100. And 64 out of 100 is 64 hundredths. And the equivalent percent there is 64%. I hope you're paying attention because that's not written too clearly. And that's lesson 22.